This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the 9th annual LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California. With me right now is Tom Minichiello from Westell Technologies, publicly traded company with the symbol WSTL. Tom, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you. For our audience, let's start off with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Westell Technology operates in the in-building wireless market, the remote monitoring, or what we call the intelligent site management and services segment, and we also have a business unit called Communication Network Solutions that does mostly outdoor communication equipment.
So I want to start with the history of the company. You know, where did it start, and how did it evolve to where it's currently at today?
So the company has long been known as a supplier of DSL modems. The company for many years sold over 40 million DSL modems to the service providers. That business was sold off along with some other wireline businesses back in the 2011-2012 timeframe. The cash proceeds from those acquisitions were then used to go out and buy companies that were providing equipment into the wireless networks, which is where our customers, AT&T, Verizon, being the two biggest, were shifting their spending towards. And today we are 75-80% wireless.
So tell me a little bit about the company's technology and how is it different than what's currently out there?
Well, in two areas.
What else is out there? Excuse me.
No problem. So in-building wireless, let's talk about that because that's the one that we put a lot of focus on today. It's one of the biggest growing markets among all the markets that we operate in. And what we do in that area is we do what are called DAS conditioners, what used to be called DAS trays. These are devices that they're niche-y. They provide a critical function of attenuating RF signal for an in-building wireless network. So these are networks that regenerate RF signal from the cellular network. They bring it indoors, and they then provide coverage in an indoor arena. It could be a football stadium, it could be a building, it could be a place like we're in right here, a resort with many people trying to use the wireless network at the same time.
And this is along the technology question, but when it comes to patents and IP, you know, are you guys covered on that side of the
business? Yeah, always. Yeah, as a technology company, we patent everything that's patentable, and we do have a lot of patents across all the products.
So I also want to talk about the company's current customer base. You mentioned AT&T. You know, tell me a little bit about that and how you also service them.
So the company has had long, enduring relationships with service providers. Today in the wireless arena, there are 4 major service providers nationally. It's AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint. There are other rural and wireline service providers, companies like CenturyLink, Windstream, Fairpoint, Frontier. We sell to all those. We also sell up in Canada, down in Mexico. That's the service provider customer segment. Then there are the OEM/integrator segment. These could be the large OEMs like the Ericssons and the Alcatel-Lucents of the world, but also pure integrators. Goodman Networks is a company we've sold to frequently with the in-building products for many years. And there are a lot of regional integrators. You wouldn't necessarily recognize the names, but we're selling a lot more to them. Then there's a third category called a neutral host operator. These are companies like American Tower, Extenet, Mobility, Crown Castle. They provide the facilities at neutral sites like a cell tower or a DAS, which is an in-building application, where the service providers don't have to build out the infrastructure themselves. They can just hop on a neutral host's operated network. So they provide all the common infrastructure so you don't double up on a lot of the equipment. And then there are distributors, which we've had relationships with for many years, and certain smaller customers, smaller integrators, and even some cases, and even some of the regions where the carriers operate, they like to go to the distributors to get certain products. So those are really the 4 classes of customers.
So I want to know a little bit more about the company's competitive landscape. You know, who are some of your direct competition, and how do you compete with them on all segments of the business?
So the direct competition, you kind of have to go business by business. In the in-building, we compete with companies that provide DAS systems, CommScope, who just recently bought TE Connectivity, so they're quite large now. Corning, believe it or not, is also in the DAS business. There are repeater companies like ADRF and others that we compete with. So it's very competitive. There's business out there for everyone, but you got to get out and compete. You have to have good quality products. You have to have good delivery and good customer service to differentiate yourself. So we do a good job there. In some of the other businesses, the competition varies. They vary from anywhere from large companies in the power and cabinet businesses under our CNS unit, where it could be a GE or it could be a small family-run company that we compete with. And then in the remote monitoring, what we call ISM, we compete with software companies, hardware companies. We compete with companies that monitor only certain types of devices. We tend to be broad and deep and monitor all different types of things. So the competition there is kind of fragmented and hard to sort of say, it's this company or that company.
Another question I had, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, is you said that there's a lot of business out there for for all the competition that's out there. But I want to know a little bit more about the Westell's runway. Tell me a little bit about that, the scope, maybe the size of some of these markets that you're getting into.
So let's take a market we're looking at right now. It's called the in-building public safety market. It's a market that is defined by something coming on stream called FirstNet. This is a federal legislation that requires a build-out of a nationwide network where first responders, police, fire, and emergency service personnel and medical personnel can interoperate all on the same network, but it's broadband data. So it's got greater capacity. It operates at higher frequencies than the old push-to-talk walkie-talkies, which operated on UHF, VHF low frequencies. This will enable first responders to not only communicate better, they'll be able to communicate within the walls of buildings, corridors, places where signals can get blocked. It'll also enable them to do more than just talk and text. They'll be able to take pictures, take videos, send high bandwidth data across the network in today's modern world.
And what's your background, and maybe a little background on the whole management team?
Sure. So I've been with the company for a little over 3 years. I've worked in the industry for the past 20 years with other telecom equipment suppliers, and before that, early on, I worked in other industries, all in financial management. And the rest of the team has got industry background. Kirk is our new CEO. He's been with us for 2 months now. And he has 31 years at AT&T, brings a great perspective from the standpoint of the service provider and AT&T, who is one of our large customers. We have heads of our business units who've been in the industry for most of their career. They're technical. They know the commercial side of the business and how things work on that side. So we have a great team.
And so from what you can tell me, what are some of the company's goals and milestones moving into the first half of 2017?
Sure. So we've gone through a bit of a rough patch the last couple of years. We had a strategy that drifted a bit away from the traditional Westell strengths, and we're getting back to that. We're growing in this public safety market that I spoke about. The reason why we like it early in its early stage is really going to be all about public safety repeaters. We've been doing repeaters on the commercial side for 20 years, so it's something we do well, and we have a high degree of confidence that we'll have a high percentage of success in that area. So, that's why we like public safety, among other reasons.
And where can our audience go and find more information about the company?
More information, you go to our website, westell.com.
That's WESTELL.com. Right. My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the 9th annual LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California. With me again is Tom Minichiello from Westell Technologies, publicly traded company with the symbol WSTL. Tom, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much.